Yeah, we're good.
Rock and roll. Well, awaiting us this week is an opportunity to go into our third season of Big Sky Conference play. We're excited to open up against University of California, Davis. I've never personally been there or in their stadium, so it's a newer venue. It's a pretty cool setup. Cal Davis has a long history of very outstanding success at the Division II level. Their move to Division I has been aided now by the change in coaching staff, and we'll see how they are. I mean, they haven't played teams of the caliber we've played either up or down. And at 0-4, I'm sure they're thinking this is a great opportunity for them. So a little test of will here on Saturday night at 6:05 down in California, down at California and Davis.
Coach, what did you learn on the plane ride home from Washington?
Well, I learned that number one, our kick game continues to improve. You know, C.J. Reyes and his punting is just spectacular. We get the one block during the ball game because we're a little new at right guard, and we get that fixed this week, and we'll be just fine. It's amazing how well CJ was able to change field position. Unfortunately, defensively, we were unable to really take advantage of what he was giving us. Defensively, we did not tackle very well, something we needed to attend to this week in practice, and in 2 days we've done a very nice job of swiftly returning to the base fundamentals of being able to tackle in the open field, because if there was anything about last Saturday's game that sits sideways or that tastes bad, it's the way we tackled. And to that end, we must tackle better every opponent we play, let alone a high-class caliber opponent like the University of Washington.
We talked Sunday about Cal Davis and how they run all those same plays, especially bootleg. How was practice this week with bootleg?
Well, we have three things to stop. We have to stop two-back power, which we never see from our own offense. We have to see two-back stretch, which we never see from our own offense. And we certainly have to stop a plethora of bootleg from a variety of sets and formations. And last year, in the Sacramento State game and then in the Cal Davis game, we were unearthed by a high school play, which is bootleg. So we've got to do a good job against the naked bootleg, the G-pull bootleg, and the most basic elements of mobility that they try to give their quarterback on the outside and run-pass option. We're playing pretty good against drop-back pass. We're playing pretty good against three-step drop. But we have got to make sure we have good eyes and see bootleg on Saturday. Otherwise, it's the trick play that ends up making you tentative on your run defense.
You talk about those two running plays. Explain to me more what those are, because when I looked at the tape from Cal Poly, that was the touchdowns they all scored, was that play right up the middle and then stretch the outside.
Well, the big thing for Davis is that they'll run power at you a lot like Stanford does. They block down with the tight end and kick out with the fullback and pull the backside guard to clean up the mess. And it's something we don't see, and they run it over and over again. They run it pretty darn well. We have got to make sure we're pretty mindful of how we've got to splatter the fullback and be able to play over the top of whichever way the running back decides to go. And when they run lead stretch, everybody's running sideways. I mean, everybody's running sideways, and the running back's looking for a crease to swerve up into the line in. Plus, they offset that with the quarterback going naked the other way. So the stretch play combination with naked bootleg forces your defense either to flow or not flow and play bootleg. So it's a tough assignment for us, but obviously we're very familiar with it and have had pretty good success defending stretch this season. We just have to be a lot better at tackling with more guys at the pile.
Mike, when you look at Cal Davis, they do have some offensive possibilities, but they've had a problem scoring points this year, at least in the games that they've played so far. From your standpoint, what have been the issues with that?
Their ability to continue drives, get better field position, be able to hit the home run ball has been tough for them. They've not thrown the ball deep very effectively, and they certainly have not spilled open lanes for their running backs. It sounds kind of familiar to us. They've scored 4 touchdowns in 4 games, and they've played some worthy opponents who've played pretty well defensively. The main thing for us is that we cannot allow them to get some run-pass option, hence our discussion about bootleg and our wariness about bootleg as we go through the week.
Their third down conversion rate is horrible, right around 1 in 4. So
Jared, we do not want to get that back on track for them. Third down is a big key, but third down's built on first down. And a first down, if you force him to second and long and third and long, then the available options, particularly bootleg, disappears. So for us, it's a game of first down. And I think as we enter Big Sky play, this will be a recurring theme for us. The theme every week will be how well have we played on first down, which is not necessarily a stat you can find until you do some calculation near the end of the game. So how well we play on first down will dictate the tempo of what we're going to have to play at defensively.
Coach, you said in previous weeks that you really didn't know what you're going to have on your team until you reach Big Sky Conference play. So what do you need to see this week to judge where you are?
Well, when you come off of 56-0, again, the question marks arise. I mean, there's no question that are we seeing a mirage of what we were last year, or the vision of what we can be this year? Are we the team that played well at home, or are we going to be the team that goes on the road and through its first couple of plays and series like we did last week offensively, stumbles, starts, and falls down? So again, the effectiveness that we'll have offensively will be buttressed by the fact that we returned 3 guys in our receiving corps that did not play last week. We returned Tyler Wright at tight end, we returned Luke Austin at the slot, and we returned Chad Hansen as an outside receiver. So all of a sudden we go back with some real frontline guys and don't necessarily have to rely on our depth to be able to get on the field and function any way we can.
Kind of piggybacking on him, you've had 2 lower division opponents, then Washington. Do you really know what you have Big Sky wise until this weekend?
Absolutely not. I'm not sure, where we sit. In terms of going into the conference against an opponent that last year we felt like we competed against pretty darn well. We're on the road, which is it has fraught with its own misery for us. But more importantly, when you have scheduling the way we do it, and I love the way we schedule, because if we're going to play a non-conference, we're either playing for money or we're playing at home for our fans. We're not going to play a level opponent anywhere along the line in non-conference. It's crazy to do that. I said that this morning in our Big Sky Conference press deal, and I'll say it again this afternoon, is that it's important for us to realize that when we're non-conference, we're either playing at home or we're playing for money. And we played for money last week, and everybody in the program gets some of that, and that's great for us. More importantly, we learn how to play fast. We get to play in a cool venue. Now the business at hand is level. Let's see how we like.
Now, sorry, the new coach, his name escapes me. He replaced Bob after 20-something years.
Yeah, Ronnie Gold.
What does he change? What's different? What's the same?
Doesn't look like anything. They look exactly the same on offense, exactly the same on defense. And I know they've changed their language and what they call and how they call it, but it looks exactly the same as what Cal Davis has actually looked like since the Jim Soker days in the 1980s and 90s.
Mike, you've got a team that has not played well, your opponent this week. Do you say anything to your team of, listen, we haven't won on the road either, so don't go in there thinking you're going to win and walk over these guys? What is your message to them this week?
Our message to our team very simply is that this is a Mike Kramer game. I've got to prepare our team to have the right mindset to be able to play the way we're able to play. That is up to me. I have to make sure that I determine our guys' mindset as they go into the ball game. Some of that work begins on Thursday. We amplify it on Friday, and we really, really pound it to them on Saturday during the day because we've got a long day of prep before we play Saturday night. Our team has to play our game regardless of who we play on Saturday. A good friend of mine said last week, you're playing the man, not the helmet. And for us, we've got to make sure that we go and play as good as their players play and give ourselves an opportunity to win by keeping it close and going into the fourth quarter on the road. In the conference, you literally want to try and split on the road. And we don't want to split with anybody. We want to win every single game. But we have not had a lead, let alone success, on the road against anybody else. So we've got to have a lead. We've got to somehow get a lead and make sure we take care of ourselves.
Is that your speech? If I'm one of your players and I'm sitting down asking you, what are we going into this game with? That's what you come to us with? Yeah,
we're going into the game with the concept that we are going to try to be as good as we can for as long as we can, early especially. We cannot fracture early because last week we fell down. We had a drop pass. We had a tip ball. We ran into the running back. We threw the ball. We had another drop pass, and we threw the ball to the wrong guy on 6 consecutive plays. That had nothing to do with the Huskies. It had everything to do with us. So for me, it's real simple. As a head coach, I've got to make sure our guys are focused enough to let their natural abilities, which are pretty considerable, now come to the forefront all night, Saturday night.
Coach, is that a situation where your team needs to go early and often, and otherwise the snowball will start rolling?
I don't know if we need to go early and often, Jeff, but we just cannot back ourselves into a corner. I mean, you're building a house and you're making it out of brick. You got to make sure you don't have bricks on your toes as you're carrying them to the wall. And that's what's happened. What happened to us last week at Washington. And that is, again, the mirage of what we were last year, not the vision of what we can be this year.
Mike, the fact that you're playing a night game, it's a little different. ISU does not play a whole lot of night games. How does that affect your prep on Saturday, if at all?
Well, we just turned off the lights in the dome this morning. No, I'm just kidding. I think every coach never wants to play a night game because you have to wait. I mean, all of us have the anxiety of waiting all day. If it was up to me, we'd play at 8 a.m., which would be perfect. Or noon, that would be even better, something like that. But 6 o'clock kickoff, it's part of the deal. We won't make a big deal about it. It'll be sunlight. It'll be at kickoff. It'll be pretty warm temperatures, not extremely hot temperatures. Because we're inside this week, we've had dry, warm, hot temperatures inside. So none of our conditioning or the elements of the game are really as big a factor as how well we're going to play, especially early on offense.
Coach, you've covered this a little bit, but opening game of Big Sky play for you, win or lose, how important is it for your team to play well and kind of figure out what they are and how they can play?
Well, I think you answered your own question. It's very emblematic of what kind of team we're going to have, that if we have risen, like I think we have risen, and have enough quality depth, we're going to be able to surmount any problems we might foresee. We've just got to make sure that we have good vision on defense, don't give them a cheap one. Play well in the kick game, especially early, not fracture in the kick game. Again, give them a cheap one. And offensively, don't be afraid of the lights. Like we were last week, because if I could hit rewind on my phone and back this thing up about 5 minutes last week, we'd have done it. Because the way we played those first 2 series at the University of Washington, we'd have had a hard time beating Chubbuck Junior High. And there isn't a Chubbuck Junior High.
Mike, you've been in this situation before. Put yourself in Cal Davis's place for me if you could. They're 0-4 on the year now. The season could be getting away from them. Do they play with a little more energy Saturday, a little more desperation? Not necessarily as an insult to ISU, just because they haven't won yet.
Well, I can't speak for Coach Gould and staff, but I'm sure that they will amp their team up and they will give us their best shot. I guarantee you we'll get their best shot, because their season can be rebounded by winning early in the Big Sky Conference, because again, like us, they haven't lost a game yet in conference. They've lost to a conference team, but they're still 0-0 in conference. So as far as we're concerned, we're going in against the number 1 team in the conference because they have no defeats, and that's how we will play. I don't know how they will react to that.
52 points against them last year. What did you do successfully now that you will continue into this year or this week?
Well, I thought we got in a great rhythm. Kevin really got going, and we were. Roderick was totally healthy, and Josh was healthy, and we were run pass, and we were multiple on what we were doing. Unfortunately, defensively, we were out of sort. I mean, if you'll remember right, the big play in the game came with a couple seconds before halftime when they went empty and threw the ball down the middle to a wide receiver who was covered only by a linebacker. Huge mistake by our coaching staff, and the blood from that play resonated through us through the rest of the season, and that's why I made a coaching staff change, because can one play turn a season around? Certainly, that play did, and it turned us, it gave any glimmer of hope we had for the rest of the season almost to ash, because from that play on, we played with no confidence, and my coaching staff coached with no confidence. So fortunately for us, I think we've rebuilt our coaching staff to a point where I'm very confident in how our game plan will be. It's just a matter of us being able to get all of our guys on the field and play the way they're capable of playing.
Looking at the same aspects, you said many times coming out of Nebraska last year, it just fractured the team and the staff for the rest of the year. Your sense after the loss at Washington?
I won't know till Saturday night, Jared, but I'm a little concerned about it. I'm a little concerned about it because defensively we surrendered way too many yards for the defensive pride we've built in 2 weeks. So I'm a little concerned about it. I guess we'll find out. I'll be able to talk to you after the game, and we'll be able to talk about what the impact of Washington was on this week's game. I will not know, though, until about 9 o'clock Saturday night, Pacific Daylight Time.
Nearly 100 points last year. Is that the type of game you want to get into? Can you be successful in a high-scoring game? Would you rather see it in the 20s? Where do you want that final score to be to make your team the most productive?
Matt, 1-0 or 91-90. I don't really care. Win is a win. any way possible, doing it with the kicking game, doing it with the defense, doing it with the offense. The important thing is to survive and advance.
Anything else?